So in this problem, we're told in the air, the speed of sound, s, meters per second, is a linear function of the air temperature, T, in degrees Celsius, and is given by S of T, which equals 0.6 T plus 331.4. And so, which of the following statements is the best interpretation of the number 331.4 in this context? So I'm just going to rewrite our equation first. And then I think the best way to understand this is graphically. So let me just graph this. So this isn't going to be to scale. It's just going to be a rough estimate. So let's imagine, so the way you want to think about this is y equals mx plus b, right? Because it's a linear function. So a linear function follows this formula. And so it's basically just mapped to it. It's mirrored. And so if we think about b, it's going to be the y-intercept. So 331.4 is going to be our y-intercept. And then we have 0.6 t, so it would just be a line going like this. It's just not to scale. But that's going to help us think about it, right? Because we're trying to find out what 331 is in this context. So let's look at our options, and then we're going to look at them and see if they make sense. So for A, it says the speed of sound in meters per second at 0C. And so if we think about what the y-intercept is, it's going to be the value of our function at 0, right? So instead of x, it's t, right? And t is going to be Celsius. So if we plug in 0 here, we're going to get 334 or 331.4, which is S of t, right? So S of t would be 331.4, which is the speed of sound. So if you think about A, it makes sense, right? 0, if we plug it in, we would get 331.4. So it seems like A checks out, but let's look at the other ones and see why they won't work. So B is going to be the speed of sound in meters per second at 0.6 C. And so speed of sound is S of t, right? So if we plug in 0.6 C, we should get 331 if this is correct. But you can obviously see if we plug it in, we're not going to get it, right? Because 0.6 times 0.6 is going to be a number, and then we're adding it to 331.4, so it's going to give us a different number. So it won't really make sense for B. And then if we look at C and D, they're both talking about an increase, right? An increase with respect to something. And so if we look at it, it's not really next to a variable, so it wouldn't make sense that it would change with a variable. So it's not really increasing with anything. It's just the beginning when we're at 0. So C and D don't make sense. And so based off this, A is going to be the answer to this problem.